Man, I appreciate their passion. I share their passion. We all do. Man, we love our fans, man. They inspire us. They challenge us. It's an awesome relationship. Man, we don't run from challenges. We run to challenges. This is the sport entertainment business. It is our job to win and thus entertain them. And so, we don't begrudge them for that. We want them to be fat and sassy and spoiled. It is our job.
Mike Tomlin gets it. That's the Steelers coach on Tuesday, the morning after the win over the Browns. It is an entertainment business. You have to inspire people to devote their money, their time, and their emotion to you. And you don't get to pick and choose which emotions they elect to express. You make them happy, the emotion is good. You keep them from being happy, the emotion is not good. When you go to a sporting event, first of all, it isn't cheap. Second of all, you put all eggs in the basket of, I hope I'm going to be happy when I walk out of here. And it makes the money that you spend for everything, ticket, personal seat license, if you have season tickets at a stadium that uses that fiction to get more money out of your pocket, overpriced beer, unless you're in Atlanta, overpriced food, unless you're in Atlanta, although maybe other cities have copied that, I don't know. Parking, just hassle, especially a night game. Get home late, got to work the next. If you win, it's okay. If you lose, it just makes you miserable. And one of the things making Steelers fans miserable is the performance of the offense. And I witnessed it. I mean, it's one thing to watch a game on TV. When you're at the game and you can watch everything and take in everything and hear everything and see everything, that's Steelers offense. Until they remembered that George Pickens is on the team, I think they forgot for a quarter and a half that George Pickens is on the team because they're not doing anything to take him away. It's not that he's double covered and the rest of the offense is just wide open. The offense is sluggish. It has no rhythm. It has no flow until they had the 71-yard catch and run by George Pickens for a touchdown and then started throwing him the ball more regularly. I mean, Kenny Pickett, the second-year quarterback, didn't even look his way until maybe that 71-yard play. There may have been one play before that where he at least looked his way. I don't get what this offense is supposed to be, and I don't believe that Matt Canada has an identity for the Steelers offense. What is their identity, Charean?
I don't know. They had 70 yards of total offense before that 71-yard play, so they doubled it with that one play, and he is their weapon. I think, Najee Harris was supposed to be that workhorse running back, and again, a reason not to draft running backs in the first round. I mean, they can't get anything established with their ground game. 21 carries for 55 yards they had no red zone plays. I thought when I watched this team in the preseason, the first team offense had 5 preseason possessions. They scored 5 touchdowns. They were just really, really good in those 5 games. First 2 regular season games, they have 1 touchdown in each of those games. So, I don't know where this offense is, where it's going. 9.5 points they're averaging. This is Canada's 3rd year, Mike, with this offense. They failed to score 20 points in 23 of 37 games. They just are not very good. And that defense is so good that it's carrying them. 2 touchdowns defensively on Monday night. But they can't keep doing that. They can keep them in games, but eventually the offense has got to start scoring some points if this is going to be a playoff team. And you're right, the one guy you can get to do that is George Pickens. And when you have him in one-on-one situations, you've got to throw the ball up to him and give him chances in 50-50 balls, because more than 50% of the time, I guarantee you George Pickens is coming down with the ball if you put it anywhere in his vicinity. He's that good. Give him some chances.
I don't want to compare George Pickens prematurely to Randy Moss. He doesn't have that same run by you and completely pull a defense 60 yards down the field and catch anything that comes his way deep. But he does catch anything that comes his way. So I don't care if he's not 4.2 speed running by everybody. He's still pretty damn good. He's special. He's one of the most physically gifted and talented receivers in the sport today. And you're not getting him the ball on a regular basis. You're not designing plays, whether it's jet sweeps, whether it's bubble screens. They're throwing the bubble screens, the guys who get swallowed up right away. Get the ball to George Pickens, even if it means you're going to have to pay him a lot of money. See, I'm going to choose my words carefully here because I don't want to accuse the Steelers of anything that would fall into the tinfoil hat aspect. I mentioned earlier the firewall that the NFL doesn't have between football purity and business interests. I just can't help but wonder, after studying this team very carefully over the last 50 years, living in and around Pittsburgh my entire life. Right now I'm sitting 100 miles away. I could get there. I got home last night. I was Monday night, sitting in gridlock traffic at 12:15 and somehow walked through the door at 2 a.m. I mean, we are not that far away from Pittsburgh, and I pay very close attention to the Steelers. Art Rooney II, the president of the team, owner of the team, family's owned the team since its inception. I think that he is very involved in a lot of stuff, and he does it very discreetly. He's a very quiet, understated presence. I think he's involved in a lot of things. And I think when Todd Haley was forced on to Mike Tomlin, I don't think that was a Tomlin call. I think that was or Art Rooney call, even though Art Rooney's never going to say, even if it goes well. It's not like, well, I'm just keeping my head low and my mouth shut because if this blows up, I don't want the blame. He doesn't take the credit. He doesn't get the blame. It's Steelers football, Steelers organization. There's no one, to their credit, who is jockeying to take the spotlight. They all work together. Is there a business consideration that is in the mix here? That if we use George Pickens to his full and complete capability, if we build the offense around this notion of, if you're going to single cover him, we're going to throw it to him every time. We're going to design plays to get the ball in his hands. We're going to make you fear him. We're going to make defensive coordinators stay up at night worrying about how they're going to stop George Pickens. And they're going to adjust their defense to do so, and the rest of our offense is going to work like gangbusters. Is there? I don't know. I'm not answering the question. I'm just raising it. Is there a hesitation to fully embrace George Pickens because they know if they do, that after the 2024 season ends, his third in the NFL, knocking on the door, give me money, give me money, give me a lot of money. Not just, good money, give me great money. And if Kenny Pickett works out at the quarterback position, you got two guys on offense, you got to pay a lot of money to. You're paying a lot of money to TJ Watt. And to their credit, the Steelers spend. It's been since the 2011 CBA. It used to be like half the league was in salary cap purgatory. We used to hear that term all the time. Oh, this year they're in salary cap purgatory. They can't really do anything. The Steelers and the Cowboys are consistently and had consistently been the two teams that are like always waving the magic wand to create cap space because they are. They're doing everything they can to put a great team on the field. I feel like maybe they don't want to create in George Pickens a player who is so great that it throws their entire salary cap structure out of whack. I don't know. It's just, I just thought of it right now because there's got to be a reason for it. Because why wouldn't you do it? I'm at the game thinking, why aren't you throwing? Why is this guy not the centerpiece of your offense? That makes no sense to me, Charean.
Well, and I think you texted that at one point while you were at the game. Has George Pickens even been looked at so far in this game? Because he hadn't been. They weren't even, like you said, they weren't even looking his way. So you've got to get the ball to him. He's your best weapon. He maybe your only weapon on offense, but somehow, some way, if you want to win, and you want to win this year, and I do think they have, because of their defense, I think they have a chance to go to the playoffs. But in order to do that, you've got to use George Pickens. And if you don't use George Pickens, to me, you have no chance because I just don't think that offense can consistently move the ball with a running game I don't see it. A bad offensive line. They haven't addressed that offensive line. It's just not very good. He's the guy. He's the guy. If you want to go to the playoffs, he's the guy.
I've been a Mike Tomlin fan and advocate since before he
100%.
got the job with the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2007. He is very well respected around the league for his ability to speak to the better angels of players, to get them to perform at a high level, to get them to set aside the factors that would bring them down and cause them not to perform at a high level. I always say he gets more out of his players than the sum of the parts, whatever that cliche is. He gets them all to play better together than you would individually expect them to do. With this caveat, he is the one who is allowing this state of affairs where George Pickens is ignored, where George Pickens isn't featured, where George Pickens isn't getting 12 touches per game or more. And Najee Harris, great guy, very engaging, great story. Najee Harris lacks the high-end burst to be one of the top running backs in the NFL. He can't beat the defender to the edge. They keep running him to the edge. He was doing the Le'Veon Bell dance around the hole instead of run right through it at one point on Monday night. He had 2 great runs back-to-back, but you know what? There's 5, 10, 15 running backs who, if they had that same opportunity, they're gaining a lot more yards than Najee Harris did. So you've got a weapon in George Pickens that is capable of supercharging the offense. And once they react to George Pickens and defend George Pickens the way they'll need to, if you're using him the way that you should, rest of the offense opens up. Whether it's Matt Canada, who's making that call, Mike Tomlin, Art Rooney, Omar Khan, somebody else, I don't know. They like to, as I said earlier, have all their decisions collaborative, collective. Nobody gets credit. Everybody gets blame. Everybody shares in the blame. Well, everybody shares in the blame that they've got this great weapon and they're not using him. And to his credit, I watched him coming off the sidelines or to the sidelines from the field multiple times. He's not frustrated. He's not displaying the kinds of stuff we've seen from other receivers. Now, he said in that great profile that Kevin Clark of The Ringer did, one of the reasons he likes to knock defensive backs on their ass when he's blocking is that's how he takes out his frustration that he doesn't get the ball on every play, because if I was the coach, I'd give me the ball on every play. So at some point, and I'm not trying to, maybe I am, I don't know. I just know what I see. And I see a freaking great football player who isn't being utilized to his full capacity.
Yeah, there's no question, Mike. And Kenny Pickett, I think the jury's still out on what kind of quarterback he's going to be, but he's got to make better decisions about getting the ball to George a lot more than what he's doing right now, because he's just not getting it there. And if they're going to keep averaging 9 points a game, they're not going to win very many games. He's the one guy that can get them. This is a team that historically has been built around their defense and their running game. They don't have that running game. They do have the defense. They don't have the running game. So who's the best player on the offense? It's George Pickens. If you want to win, who do you go to? You go to George Pickens. So that's it. That's what they have to do if they want to have a chance to go to the postseason.
I can't tell you how many times on Monday night I'm watching. You see the whole field, and Pickens is split left, and he's got one guy on him, and the safety isn't coming over that way. It's like, this is just wasted talent, wasted opportunity, and there's got to be a reason for it. And I refuse to say that when it relates to the Steelers, the reason is incompetence, because they have shown over the past 50 years they are not incompetent. I don't get it. I'd love to know the reason for it. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll find out. Or maybe they'll just start using him the way that they should and have better offensive performances than my favorite stat of the week. They entered the fourth quarter down 22-19. They had -7 yards of offense and won the game. Only with the
Amazing,
Steelers
isn't
defense
it?
can you pull that off. But you're not going to win a championship with that. Charean, what that does, it keeps you in every game. You're going to win maybe one or two more than you lose. You're going to get to the playoffs, but you're eventually going to come up against a team with a quarterback that you're not going to be able to keep pace with. I deluded myself into thinking they could upset the Chiefs in the wild card round a couple of years ago when they barely got in. And they were up 7-0 thanks to a defensive touchdown. And then the dam broke. And I think the final score was 82-7. Not quite that bad, but it felt that way. So you just can't. You're never going to compete for a Super Bowl in that conference if you're not getting a hell of a lot more out of your offense than they got on Monday night.
Yeah, I go back to the Ravens when they won the Super Bowl. That defense obviously was elite, one of the greatest defenses probably in NFL history. We can argue over who the greatest was, but I think they're in the conversation. And they won with Trent Dilfer at quarterback. But guess what? Trent Dilfer made plays in the postseason that put them over the top. It wasn't just the defense in the postseason. So you have to have a quarterback who's going to make some plays for you, especially in the postseason. Maybe you can get away with it if you have a pretty good running game, and this team doesn't have a good running game. But if you do have a good running game, you can get away with that in the regular season and get you the postseason. But eventually, your quarterback's going to have to make some plays if you're going to go win a Super Bowl. And that's what Trent Dilfer did that year. And if they've got a chance to get to the postseason, I don't even think, because they don't have the running game, they're not going to get to the postseason just with that defense. There's no running game there to kind of carry them. They've got to make plays on offense, and it's got to be the quarterback, and it's got to be getting the ball to George Pickens.
Balance is the key. The most balanced teams are going to be the most successful. And if you're going to be out of balance, it's better to have a great offense and a subpar defense, because the game continues to evolve toward offense, and it's a lot different now than it was in 2000 for the Ravens. I don't think a 2000 Ravens-style defense without a better quarterback does what they did 23 years ago in today's game. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.